Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here. And this morning I was watching a video that my friend Mark Wobliner over at the Tiger Fitness did just a couple days ago talking about idiot trainers. Oops, got a text message there. Which you guys can go watch if you want. It should be the one he did, I think, on Friday if you want to check it out, his cardio confessions. But he was talking about a guy he knew who, by a contest prep coach, really messed up his hormones because he had him down on something like 20 grams of fat a day. And I want to talk to you guys about that for a few minutes. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Alright, that is something that I have harped on in the past, and if you guys watch my basic nutrition playlist, if you look at the playlist over on the side of my channel, I have one on basic nutrition, and I break down for you guys basics on how much protein you need for bulking or cutting for your stats, how much dietary fat you need for things like basic health and hormone production and producing testosterone and producing enough thyroid hormones, and how to manipulate your caloric intake and figure out your current caloric needs for bulking and cutting, and how to determine how much your intake and things are changing. It's just real basic sports nutrition stuff that's useful to you guys. And I cover fat intake in there a bit. And that's something that I think people need to be very aware of who are cutting natural, because so many of the guys in the industry are enhanced, and girls for that matter, are enhanced. And I'm going to say, out of the people who you really see who are well-known writers and people who are putting out information, I'm going to say the majority, well over half, are on drugs. And therefore, a lot of them don't really understand nutrition for the natural. They run these ultra low fat diets because they can get away with it. I run, usually when I'm cutting, I'll be running as low as 30 grams of fat a day. But for someone who is producing all of their own hormones, this is a very bad idea. Because what ends up happening, and this is a problem I see even with guys who do contest prep in general who are natural, which is why I'm not a big fan of natural bodybuilding at the competitive level. Because it fucks with your hormones. It will mess your body up. And for people who don't need to produce their own, because I believe that PED use is a lifetime commitment, so you're anticipating being on TRT until the day you die, it's not really a big deal. But for naturals, it is a big deal. Because sometimes you don't always rebound. And the problem with running these ultra low fat diets, things like 20 or 25 or 30 grams of fat a day, is that you're running a risk of shutting down a lot of your body's hormone production, and it could take you weeks, it could take you months, or you might never recover. So there's no way to know how well you're going to recover. And there are people who have done very drastic diets and dieted down lean and run these ultra low fat diets who've had to go on TRT after. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it does happen. And that's something you have to take into consideration. You need a certain amount of fat in your diet. And I know the temptation is there to cut your fat lower than the numbers and recommendations I give and the calculations and that others give you, because we know from the science that calorie per calorie, fat calories are slightly more fattening than any other type. Because one, they have less of a thermic effect. Two, they're not even particularly useful for building things like muscle tissue or for fueling athletic performance. And three, they're simply stored as body fat easier through the mechanisms of the body than things like protein and carbohydrates are. There's multiple processes and steps that those things have to go through in order to be stored as fat. Not as much for carbs as protein, but it's still there. It's not a direct storage route. But because of that, a lot of people want to run their fat lower because they want the more anabolic, less fattening micronutrients. But the reality is, if you're not injecting exogenous hormones into your body to replace the things that you need for production, running your fat too low is going to be problematic. So you need to be aware of that. And I'm not going to give you all the formulas here. I give them in the other videos of showing you how to calculate what you need based upon your goals, because it's not a set number, it's a calculations. And Mark mentioned in there, I think that the minimum you need is around 20 grams for survival. And actually for adults, I believe it's 18 to 20 grams is what you need for basic survival. That is not for health or hormone production. That is what you need to maintain life. And if you, unless you're very obese and you've been put on some sort of fasting diet, if you have a healthy amount of body fat or even slightly above healthy amount and you run a diet below that for a prolonged period of time, you're generally going to have organ damage, you're going to have problems. You're going to actually hurt yourself in the long term, and it could kill you. So yeah, those are your minimums, but some people need as much, and again, look at the calculations I put out. Some people need as much as 70 grams or 80 grams of fat a day for optimal hormone production, and it's going to depend upon things like your lean body mass, your body weight, things like that are big factors. So obviously a 110-pound woman is not going to need as much as a 300-pound football lineman is. So there you have it, guys. You need to go take a look at that and look at the formulas I provided for you. It's basically well understood stuff in sports nutrition and nutritional science. I'm just regurgitating that information in the videos. It's not even my own material. That is material from people with PhDs in sports nutrition. And so also, kind of like Mark said, and I agree with Mark here, if you have any trainer or any contest prep coach or any guru or any diet that you see written that has you drop your fat that low, something like 20 or 30 grams a day to lose weight, and you're not planning on putting exogenous hormones into your body to compensate, you need to run. You need to fire that person, get the hell away from them, throw that book away, ignore that diet, turn off that YouTube video, because that person is going to harm your health. That advice in the long term is probably going to cause you physical harm. So you need to run like hell. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you next time.